Hey everybody, it's Jim here, and earlier today I got a message from one of you guys, Jeff. Yeah, we were talking on Instagram, and he asked my opinion on a video that was recently uploaded by Guitar Max, who I've said is a pretty cool channel. I definitely think he's one of the good ones on this platform, and he was talking about now's the time to rush out and buy a guitar if you're eyeing one because the prices are about to get out of control. And basically Jeff wanted to know what I thought about that as somebody who buys and sells guitars. Now, there's one thing I'd like to preface this with. Us guitar players, we look for any reason possible to purchase new gear, whether it's a new amp, a new pedal, a new guitar in this case, and sometimes it might not be the most practical thing, but we can kind of talk ourselves into it or feel peer pressure or whatever kind of pressure, in this case kind of the inflation stuff that's happening all around the world, to use it as a reason to buy something we don't necessarily need. So I want to start with, if you don't need a guitar, don't buy one out of fear that you might not be able to afford something you may or may not love later down the road. Alright, with that out of the way, the first thing I have to touch on from Max's video here is the shipping costs. This is one of the major reasons I am getting out of selling guitars for the time being. It's not a forever thing. Maybe if things ever go back to somewhat normal, I'll get back into it. And if I see something too good to pass up locally that I know I can sell quick, that's a different story. We did that the other week with the CE24. But in general here, the shipping is no joke. It really is impacting a lot of people's bottom lines, a lot of smaller businesses. It's crippling, quite frankly, when you factor in the vendor fees and the website fees that they charge you to sell on their platforms if you don't have one that people are familiar with enough to be able to go directly to you. The shipping on top of it is just crazy. And another thing that often gets overlooked, and people assume just because a guitar is American made that all the parts for the guitar are from America, and Max references in this video something that not a lot of people talk about. That's not always the case. Things like cases, things like electronics, all of these things are from overseas. So it's not for every brand, it's not for every guitar, but for a lot of the major manufacturers, these are all things that still have to find their way over here. That's where the shipping comes into play. And given the fact that the shipping is continually going up and that the containers that a lot of these places use in order to get things in bulk over here are way more expensive than they previously were, it's something to consider, and I think that is a valid concern. Now on to the prices of the instruments themselves. In January, Fender just increased the prices on a bunch of their guitars in their line. I'm going to point out the American Professional 2 went from being a $1,499 guitar to a $1,699 guitar. So if you were on the fence and missed that boat by a day or two, you paid a little bit extra for it, and that's still the case. And I mention this because there are very substantial rumors that I've heard from quite a few people within this industry that there's going to be another Fender price increase in the coming months. June is what I've been heard, is the speculation. But this is one of those things where when all of the other costs are going up, the other thing that Max mentioned that made a lot of sense in this too is the labor. You have the people that are working extra to try and compensate for the demand of these guitars, because Fender in the big COVID year had their best guitar boom and guitar sales year in their history. So it's kind of been all hands on deck, and in order to kind of compensate the employees, I mean, you have to make more money in order to do so. So in order to make everybody at the company happy, the consumer is the one that's going to eat those costs, including, the wages, the actual products themselves, as far as how they're assembled, the parts coming in from overseas. It's a big kind of ordeal, and I kind of understand it. It does suck. It really sucks. Nobody wants to hear something is going to be more expensive, and I'm not making excuses for these companies. There's nobody that's a tougher critic on a lot of these companies than I am in many aspects, but you have to understand that the world is very volatile right now on many fronts, and a guitar kind of going up a few $100s really is not going to be the end of the world in the grand scheme of things, which leads me to point number 3. And that is the prices of used guitars. And trust me, I'm going to tie that last point right into this. So the way I see this is, Max mentions in this video that it's going to kind of mirror the pricing of the new guitars. So the used guitars are going to continue to go up in value. I think that that's only going to go so far. And what's going to happen is, If the shipping is really, really going to keep accelerating at these kinds of rates and other things that are actual necessities in life become extremely expensive, all of a sudden that $2,000 guitar, that $700 guitar, that $5,000 guitar, that's not going to seem nearly as important as being able to have a roof over your head and, more importantly, food in your family's mouths. So you actually might see some people, if times get really tough, I know this is kind of dark and heavy, but it's true. If times get really, really bad, which is not outside of the realm of possibility, you're going to see people offloading things just to make, ends meet so that they can have the actual things that they need to survive in life. And let's face it, most people that do music for a career, we're not exactly rolling in money. We're not driving around really expensive cars, living in gigantic mansions or things like that. So most of our money is in the gear itself. But wrapping this up, I've pretty much already told you guys what I think about this. If you're in the market and you've been in the market and you've just been waiting for the right deal to pop up, maybe it is a good time to buy. But if you're somebody that's just shopping around for the sake of shopping around, maybe focus that money and that attention to other things in life if you have what you already need. That's all I have for you guys today. I appreciate all of you that click on these videos, that support this channel on a daily basis. You guys mean the world to me, and I can't wait to talk to you tomorrow for the Thursday live stream, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, in case you are new and would like to partake in the festivities of me just basically going off the riff and having open conversations with you guys. Like the video, comment, subscribe, don't panic, and I will see you tomorrow for another guitar video. Take it easy, everybody.